Hello everyone, welcome to this course on the cognitive theories of multimedia learning, CTML, and its application in educational videos. I'm Yang Huiyuan, and today we will explore how to make learning more interesting through the power of multimedia. Before we start, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever noticed that it's easier to remember something from an interesting teaching video than from page of text? Okay, let's get started. Today we will talk about learning objective, also of CTML model, introduction to CTML model, the key elements, cognitive load theory, 20 multimedia learning principles, educational video, application in educational video. Here is a small question. Do you know what multimedia education is? Multimedia learning evaluates to use of multiple media formats such as text, images, alerts, and video to facilitate the learning process. And the explanation. This approach leverages the strengths of different media to enhance understanding and retention of information. For example, combining visual images with auditory explanations can help learners better grasp complex concepts. The goals of today's lesson are as follows. The first, define the CTML and its key assumptions. The second, identify how CTML applies to creating engaging and effort educational videos. And the third, identify the 12 multimedia learning principles. And the fourth, explain the connection between the CTML model and the CLT model. Next, we will start with the author of CTML model and the theoretical background. CTML model was proposed by psychologist Richard E. Meyer. He is a professor at the University of California, Santa Barbara, specializing in multimedia learning and educational technology research. Meyer's research has changed our understanding of learning design and provided scientific evidence to improve educational resources. We have many PowerPoint templates that has been specifically designed to help anyone that is stepping into the world of PowerPoint for the very first time. His research interests are applying the science of learning to education, focusing on how to help people learn in a way that can be transferred to new situations. Current research projects including multimedia learning, computer supported learning, and learning in immersive virtual reality. Can you imagine your favorite video-based learning content? Why is so effective? Maybe Richard E. Meyer's theory can give us the answer. Then, the introduction to CTML model. The CTML model posed by Richard E. Meyer is based on three fundamental principles: dual-channel processing, limited capacity, and active processing. It emphasizes that effective multimedia learning occurs when individuals actively process information through visual and auditory channels. CTML model suggests designing multimedia introduction to align with how the human brain processes information, focusing on reducing intraoral cognitive load and enhancing intrinsic the gamma load. Techniques like segmentation, signaling, and the use of relevant visuals are often employed to achieve this. And I will introduce evolution of CTML model. There have 6 types. For the first type, foundation in cognitive psychology. The second type, collaboration with multimedia researchers. The third type, development of CTML models. The fourth type, key principle of CTML models. And the fifth type, application in instructional design. And the sixth type, ongoing research and refinement. The core of CTML is based on 3 main assumptions. The 3 assumptions that for multimedia learning effectiveness. The first is dual-channel assumption. Visual and auditory information are processed through separate channels. The second is limited capacity assumption. Each channel has a limited processing capacity. And the third is active processing assumption. Learners need to actively select, organize, and interrogate information to achieve deep learning. Now, let's look at the relationship between CTML model and another key theory, cognitive load theory, CLT. The cognitive load theory was proposed by John Sweller in the 1980s as a framework for understanding how human cognitive systems process information, particularly focusing on the relationship between working memory and long-term memory. The theory provides guidance from optimizing learning by managing cognitive load effectively, and is widely used in instructional design and educational practices. The CLT's author is John Sweller, a cognitive psychologist, developed cognitive load theory to address the issue of information overload in educational contexts, particularly in enhanced core fields like mathematical and science. The theory has significant implications for instructional design, including breaking complex tasks into smaller, more manageable steps to reduce intrinsic load, avoiding redundant or irrelevant information to minimize intraoral load, encouraging appropriately challenging tasks to enhance gamma load and promote deep learning. Okay, let's see how CTML and CLT complement each other. The similarities between CTML and CLT are: the first, based on information process theory; the second, the role of working memory and long-term memory; and third, focus on optimizing cognitive research; and fourth, practical implications for instructional design. For example, a well-designed instructional video can reduce intrinsic load and enhance beneficial load. They also have some difference between CTML model and CLT model, such as the scope of study. CTML is focused on multimedia learning environments, but the CLT discover cognitive load management, and the core theoretical focus, application fields, and the key problem solving focus. Okay, let's see the 12 multimedia learning principles. The 12 multimedia learning principles are coherence principles, selling principles, redundancy principles, spatial contiguity principle, temporal contiguity principle, segmenting principle, pre-training principle, modality principle, multimedia principle, personalization principle, wise principle, imagine principle. Because we don't have much time, I will talk about 3 important principles of multimedia learning. There are the coherence principle, the signing principle, and the segmenting principle. The first principle is the coherence principle. This principle says that people learn better when there is no extra information. For example, in a video, we should remove background music or unnecessary animations. This helps learners focus on the main idea. And the second principle is the signing principle. This principle says that signers like arouse or broad text help learners find the important parts. For example, in a PowerPoint slide, we can use arrows or highlights to show key points. And the third principle is the segmenting principle. This principle says that learning is easier when we break content into small parts. For example, instead of one long video, we can make short videos, each about one topic. In short, these 3 principles making learning easier and clearer. And I will introduce the other principles briefly. The redundancy principle is avoid excessive presentation of imaging, text, and speech. The practical contiguity principle is places related text and images together, not apart. The temporal contiguity principle is show images and narration at the same time, no spirality. The pre-training principle is introduce key concepts before learning starts. And the modality principle is using images and speech instead of images and text. The personalization principle is using conversational in language instead of formal tone. The voice principle is using human voice instead of machine-generated voice. And the imaging principle is avoid use photos or audios of the speaker unless necessary. I want to ask you, do you know why educational videos are so important in model learning? Okay, it is because they combine visual and sounds to help learners understanding complex ideas more quickly. They also allow flexible learning anytime and anywhere. Did you know the educational videos come in many types, such as explanatory videos, animation videos, case study videos, practical videos, and interactive videos. Then we will talk about the CTML applying in educational video. The first is dual channel, using both visuals and audio to improve learning. The second is coherence, remove unnecessary content to focus on key points. The third is signing, highlights important information to guide attention. The first is avoid repeating information through text and narration. The 5 is personalization, use friendly conversational language to engage learners. And the 6 is schemating, break down connect into smaller, engageable parts for easier learning. In the future, technology will bring endless possibilities to education, but it will also bring new challenges. I believe that what we learn today will help us design more effective teaching materials. Thank you for listening. Feel free to ask questions or share your ideas. Goodbye.